The database module is a place for managing a member database, making it easy to import and export data from other software. Keep the list clean, and keep an eye on changes that have been made. In this video, I'm going to give you a tour of each tab and how to use it. The Dashboard tab gives a high-level overview of the database, with information on how many people, companies, events, and transactions it contains. There are also quick links to other tabs in the module, where conflicts, actions, workflow, and revisions, all of which we'll be covering shortly, are shown. Lastly, it shows how many items are in the attic, which is a storage place for archived information. We'll be covering the attic later in this video as well. Moving on to the Conflicts tab, this tab shows a list of conflicts, which are instances where there's more than one person or company with the same email address. Freedom uses the email address as a unique identifier, so there can only be one person or company with each address. If there are two, this conflict needs to be resolved. You can do this by merging the two records together, or changing the email address of one or the other. There's also a bulk conflict merger. This is for merging entire categories of users at once. On this screen, you choose one or more source categories, then a target category to merge with. For each field, choose whether the source or the target gets precedence, meaning that if both the source and the target contain data in that field, one of these will overwrite the other. Once this is set up, just click the Merge button, and the categories will become merged. The Actions tab is associating website behaviors with users in the database. In Freedom, when a logged-in user performs some action on the site, like filling out a form, it's recorded so you can track a user's activity. However, sometimes a user will perform an action while not being logged in. This tab lets you tie the action back to the user. Let's edit one of these unassociated actions. In this case, a form submission that isn't linked to a user. Freedom will try to identify who it is based on the information submitted. To attach the action to a user, you can click on the green Add Person button. Search for a person and select him or her. The Workflow tab shows changes to people or company records that are awaiting approval. If your website is set to require administrator approval whenever members log into their accounts and make changes, each change will appear here. Once they're approved, they will be applied to the user's account. The Revisions tab shows every change that has happened to any person or company in the database, whether the change was made by an administrator here in the Operations application, or by users themselves while logged into their accounts. Clicking Edit will show the previous and new data for each field that has been changed, and these changes can be reverted to their former settings by clicking the Revert Changes button. The Import tab is for importing data into Freedom from a third-party membership application or another Freedom site. To import data, upload a comma, semicolon, or tab-separated file, or, if your data is coming from one of the third-party software products shown on the screen, you can drag and drop the export file directly onto the dotted box. This will take you to an import wizard that will add the data into your Freedom database. The Export tab is for taking your data out of Freedom, either for backing up or importing into a third-party system. Just choose the category you want to export, the type of file, and click Download, and a file containing your data will be downloaded to your computer. The Sync tab is for Freedom websites that have a live connection with a third-party database and synchronize data automatically. The screen is for mapping the fields between the two databases. For each field in Freedom, match it with a field in the external database. When you're done, click Save at the bottom of the screen. The Attic is a place where all archived data is stored, so nothing is ever permanently lost. It shows a list of users that have been deleted, and gives you the option to restore any of these users at any time. To restore a user, edit him or her in the list. From here, you'll be able to see all of the user's data, and if you choose to, you can click Restore User at the bottom of the screen. This will return the user to the People or Companies module.